What is up, everybody? My name is James DeFiore, and this is Blackballed. Sometimes you have a career in music that is a very kind of phenomenal path that you end up taking. And one of those people is my guest today. He was kind of like the protege, I would say, of Marley Marl. And if you know anything about hip hop, you know that is starting back at a time when, first of all, the competition was fierce, and second of all, he was like a living legend. And this man, who we have on the show today, was only 17 years old at a time when people were like banging on Marley Marl's door, 24/7. He was sort of the guy that you saw back then. And since then, I've looked at his catalog over the last week or so, and I can't name a cat that this guy hasn't worked with that's been like a fierce lyricist. So I'm really excited to talk to him today. Please welcome to the show, super producer extraordinaire, Domingo is in the house.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. We have a bit of an echo. I'm going to mute you while I talk just so I don't hear the echo's gone already. So that's good. Did I get any of that wrong? That whole protege thing with Marley Marl, is that an accurate way to describe it? Because I heard you in an interview talking about how you were like 17 and he was trying to find you and he was like making sure that you weren't ever too far away so that he could come, and he's just like, listen, your beats are dope. Like is that an accurate depiction of how that started?
Somewhat.
Can you give me a better idea?
Yeah, basically, he had announced on WBLS radio back then that he was working on In Control Volume 2, and he was looking for artists. And my childhood friend, Junior, his name is Edison, we was hanging out in front of his father's house, drinking a 40. And my friend Edison was like, yo, that's you. He's talking about you. You need to give Marley your demo. And I was like, nah. And then he went inside, got his dad's keys to his car, and told me, get in the car. I'm driving you to BLS. And we went up to BLS radio. And I mean, it's a longer story, but I'll cut it short. And Marley came out, and there was a lot of people waiting for him. And I just stood to the side. And then when he was walking past, leaving, I tapped him and gave him my tape. And then from there, I got a phone call from Francesca Spiro, who was the manager at the time, and rest her soul. She was like, are you the Puerto Rican kid Marley's making a big deal over? And I didn't really believe it until I went down to Lafayette Street in Manhattan to her office, and Marley got on the phone with me and was like, yo, I want to sign you to In Control Volume 2, because I was actually rapping. And
yeah, I saw that in an interview. Yeah, you were rhyming, and then you noticed that Marley Marl was never asking you about your rapping, but he was asking you about your beats.
Yeah. No, I would give him demo after demo, and he would always be like, yo, these beats are dope, but never said nothing about the rapping.
That sucks. At the time, yeah, if you have an ego of a rapper, I can only imagine you're just at the time just like, well, wait a second, man. Like, fuck.
Yeah. and so I started producing artists that were under him. He would bring me to a studio in Queensbridge. It was like a storefront, and I would go in there and produce my man Big Money Wiz, who was also his name is Nicky Scarf, and I produced his demos for Marley. I was around when Marley did Craig G's second album in Chung King. Mm-hmm. I was actually with Marley in Chung King when he did Jingling Baby for LL.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I've seen a lot of history. I'm grateful, but yeah. So that's basically how it happened in a quick synopsis of it. And Marley just kept saying the beats are dope, and I was like, you know what? Then I'm just gonna do beats. That's it. And now, that's where it went.
Were you because I know that you did a lot of stuff with first of all, actually, before I even get there, I had a guy named Marvin Prince on the podcast not too long ago, and right around the time that you were doing stuff with Marley, he went down there with Snow to record Informer and all that. Were you around for any of that? Because there was a lot of controversy after all that.
Nah, I know MC Shan wrote the song. That I know. But I don't know Snow. I never met him. But MC Shan, that's like my big bro. So,
Yeah.
I know Shan did a lot of that, did actually the song. But nah, I wasn't around for none of that.
Okay, I was just curious. I had Marvin Prince on, and there was a whole court case where Snow got sued, and the weird thing is that the jury came back and awarded Marvin 1.5 million, and then and then Marvin Prince was in Toronto, where I'm from, and he was hanging out with Chuck D, or he met him or something, and he told him about his case, and Chuck D's like, "You're never going to see any of that money." And he's like, well, what do you mean? I already won the case. And he's like, you're a black man in America trying to get money off of a white guy. You're not going to get it. And it was the label, too. And 6 months later, the judge inexplicably threw out the case for no reason at all. He overruled the jury, didn't award him any money.
Doesn't surprise me.
I know. This is a tough game out
Doesn't
there,
surprise
man.
me. Music business is so crooked, bro. Unbelievable.
How has your experience been in the music industry? Because when someone takes a look at your catalog, and I mean this respectfully, because I know who you are, because I'm ahead. I look at your catalog. I'm just scrolling through the gigantic list of people that you've worked with, and it's like a who's who of hip hop.
Right.
But to be honest, you're not a household name. So I'm just curious. You are among heads, right? And that's probably more important to you, anyways. But is there a reason for that? Have you in the music industry, had it out, or is it just kind of the way that you like to flow and just, you're happy with how the trajectory went?
I mean, in my own world, in my space, I know what I've done in the music game, so nobody could take that away from me. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a point that it would kind of bother me that I wouldn't get mentioned amongst the premiers, the Pete Rocks, and all of that, because I put in just as much work as them, and I love them dudes. So there's no disrespect to them, nothing. They me and Preem are tight. Pete is my dude, or Diamond D, all of them. But there was a point where I was like, damn, man, they never mentioned me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take away what I did in the game. No. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I mean, you got me, you got Beatnuts, my man VIC. There's probably a few other Latin producers, but I put it down really heavy. You know what I'm saying? In hip hop and music general, because I've done remixes for Amy Winehouse. I did Alicia Keys demo songs when she got signed to Clive Davis. I did 3 demos with her. You know what I'm saying? So my foot has been very strong in the game. But my friend, my man, Boogie the Hitmaker, my man Jay Beats, his peeve with me is, yo, you don't tell people enough of who you are, bro. So I've never been a person that's cocky. I'm not cocky. I've never been chasing it for the fame. Okay, cool. I mean, people call me legendary. I appreciate that. But that's a heavy word to throw around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I worked with damn near everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On that list is missing Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, and maybe a few other people. But I was with Nas when he got signed to Illmatic. There's a picture of me and Nas. Nas could tell you, me and Traj brought him to East New York, Brooklyn, so he could hear my beats when he was working on Illmatic.
Wow.
And we brought him to my friend's apartment. You know what I'm saying?
See, to me, that's a movie. Despite despite anything, like it's just one of those things. I don't want to start any beefs here, but I just want to know, because I had a bad experience with MC Search, and I'm just kind of curious.
Right.
His role in that whole Illmatic thing was really just like intermediary that helped set up the money, right?
I mean, as far as I knew, Search managed him. Now, me and MC Search go very, very way back. Yeah. So I've never had issues with Search. So I'm not going to be one of the people that's going to sit here and be like, search this, search that.
That's okay. I don't want to do that anyways. Yeah.
No. I know you don't, but I'm just making it straight. Like, dude has always looked out for me. Dude, he's always like, I could text Search right now and he'll hit me back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got a lot of love for Search. I mean, if people got something to say about him, see how I always how I always been dealt with things is, even when I was signing to Marley, certain people in the game told me, be careful, this and that. And I'm gonna tell you, Marley's never did nothing wrong to me.
Oh, that's good.
Marley kept me fed. Did I help Marley with producing records? I never did a beat for Marley, but me and Marley did things together. You know what I'm saying? Like I helped him do Arrest the President remix back in the days. What was my help? I gave him the sample, one of the samples that's in there. A lot of people will say I did this, I did that with him. Cool. But the way I've lived my whole career is, if somebody did something to you, doesn't mean they're gonna do it to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I feel that. Is that one of the main differences between hip hop back in like late 80s, early 90s or whatever to now? Is that like now it was Jay-Z's New York State of Mind or Empire State of Mind or whatever that's called. You still look at the writing credits. There's like 8 people or something, right? And like 5 producers or whatever. Back in the day, if you would have helped Marley find a sample, you would have gotten a production credit nowadays. Like, is that kind of the difference?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You know, how that Arrest the President thing went down was, I was home and Marley called me, said, yo, do you still, because how he heard, he knew the sample, it was on one of the demo tapes I gave him.
Yeah.
Of me rapping. So he was like, yo, you know that Cliff Noble's The Horse record? I said, yeah. He goes, you still got the 45? I said, yeah. He's like, yo, jump in the cab, come to Chung King.
That must have been exciting, man. That must have been exciting for you because you were so young, bro. Like, you were like,
man, you know. I wouldn't, let me tell you something. To this day, me and Marley are very tight. Marley tells me shut up sometimes on the phone because I'm still thanking him to this day.
Oh, well,
you know what I'm saying?
You're one of the first dudes. There's a couple guys that I talked to in prepping for this interview. They don't know you personally or anything, but they through the grapevine, they've always heard that you're one of the most humble guys who's got so much talent, who has all this reason to be cocky, but you're very humble and approachable, and people like you. Do you like having that reputation? Like, is that the kind of guy that you want people to see you as?
I'd rather come across as humble and likable than an asshole as cocky.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Enough. I mean, like I said earlier, I could be cocky, but I choose not to. Because I feel like, moving in silence is better for me than always being out there talking about I'm this, I'm that. I don't need to say it. Let the music talk for it.
Isn't that that's a KRS line, isn't it? Real bad boys move in silence, right?
Listen, I come from East New York, Brooklyn. Yeah, we move in silence.
Yeah. Anytime someone got in I remember walking truck because I used to be a rave promoter, and we used to throw in rap. We used to throw in like hip hop MCs over like the jungle beats and like the drum and bass beats and stuff like that.
Yep.
But then I'd be walking home at 4:00 in the morning and in downtown Toronto, and I knew from a young age that when someone came up to me and was like, "What's up, man?" that you just look him right back in his face and like, "Not much, dude. You," because if you cower, then they're gonna get you, right? Like,
absolutely.
So it was interesting that that whole real bad boys move in silence thing. Speaking of KRS-One, you like when I go down that list, you seem to have a real appreciation for the rappers that have that bring lyrics. Oh,
like, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I feel like the old cranky guy shaking his cane at all the mumble rappers and stuff. Like, I just want to know, like,
Listen. I just spoke with G-Rap tonight, and G-Rap, if he was on this call with us, he'd tell you I'm probably the one person that bugs the shit out of him. Like when we were working on his album that just came out, I would listen to his lyrics, and I'd call him, or I'd type it back to him like, yo, what was you thinking? Because
talk like sex?
Yeah, well, talk. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, man, I love an artist that's lyrical, man. Like with the flow, the metaphors, the syllables, multi-syllable. I love those type of artists. I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit here and knock drill rap. I'm not gonna sit here and knock none of that. But you're not getting me to listen to that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I come from the school of lyrics and beats and all of that. So yeah. I can't really listen to, like mumble rap and drill rap. Listen, I ain't knocking them. Do your thing. But I'm not listening to it.
I'll knock him. I'll be the asshole for this interview. I don't care.
Yo, and by the way, not to get off subject. I love Toronto, man. It's a beautiful city.
Oh, that's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. We have a really, really rich hip hop history too. There was like a pipeline between Toronto and New York. We had this venue called the Concert Hall, and we had everybody, man. From 1984 to like 1994, every New York rapper came to Toronto all the time. And there are people like back then, it's like Maestro Fresh West and Cardinal and Shaw Claire and Thrust and all these guys used to just go to New York in the summertime and just hang out with you guys. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
no doubt.
Yeah, lots of love.
Cardinal.
Lots of love for you, dude. Basically, our hip hop style was completely influenced by you guys. Like New York was what we were hearing and what we were listening to at the time. And it was basically all the cast that you worked with, the Cool G Raps and the Big Daddy Kanes and the Rakims and all that, and the Def Jam guys. Like those, it was just what we did. And I'm so happy that was my. It's really kind of beneficial for a guy like me who's white kid from Toronto, who was brought up on the hip hop that was from Brooklyn and Queens. Like it was everything to me, you know. And,
no doubt.
And so I'm looking over your list here, and I'm going to go over some of this stuff. I had there's a rapper friend that I have that wanted me to ask you, because the list of people that you work with is so extensive. Was there ever a time, or how many times, I guess, did you work with artists where you never actually got to be in the studio with them?
Very rarely.
So it's always kind of in the studio with them, right? So that's good. That's good, because that's another modern thing that I've been noticing, that people sometimes never even meet and they do compilations together.
I mean, nowadays, I'm rarely in the studio. I mean, when we did G's last album, we was in the studio together in New Jersey, and because that's just the way me and G work. But like, if I did something with, I got songs I'm getting ready to drop. And, I'll send the artist the beat, bring back the vocals, mix it. But like all those like stuff you're looking at, that list, that's definitely, I was in the studio with Eminem, in the studio with Alicia Keys, in the studio with Rakim, Kane, and KRS definitely.
I heard, can I ask you, can we go down a little bit on that list and just tell me what their process is like? Like,
yeah, sure.
Because I know Eminem's got a pretty legendary kind of process where he's like, I heard he, first of all, it's hilarious. I heard he works 9 to 5. Like he just, when it's 5 o'clock, he's like, all right, I'm out. You turn around, you get the shit ready, and he's gone. Kind of thing. I
mean, well, I worked with him back in '99 when he just got signed to Dre. Yeah. And Paul Rosenberg brought him to Queens, New York, to be on my 13th Floor album. Like a lot of, now that we talking about that real quick, let me just straighten something out that a lot of people don't understand. There's a song called Hellbound with Eminem on it that a lot of people think that's where he did those vocals. The vocals for Hellbound are off my album. The song's called Hustlers Hardcore. What happened was we did the Game Over series albums, me and my dude DJ Rob, and we put the Eminem vocals on the Hellbound song with Master Ace and I believe my man Jay Black. So that those vocals is is recycled from my album. But for my album, Eminem came to Queens. He actually made me slow the beat down. Like the beat you hear him rhyming over was a lot faster. Right. And I don't know why, but he made me slow it down. So he could write and rap to it. Now, truth be told, me and my engineer Cuss, I didn't know who Eminem was.
Oh, wow.
Like, all I know is the dude
did he get the white guy look? Did he get the white guy look when he walked in the studio? I know that look, man. I know that look.
He was brown hair, brown eyes, with a button-up flannel shirt. Wow. And I looked at him because my man Steve Salem, rest his soul, he was like, "You gotta get this kid Eminem on your album. You have to." I'm like, "Who is that?" He's like, "He's run battle raps." Blah. I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever. I take your word for it." Paul Rosenberg brought him. When he walked in, he sat next to me, and we're talking. But I'm looking at my engineer like, "Who is this kid?" and so then he said, "Yo, can you slow the beat down?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah. I just want to flow better to it." So we slowed it down. He went in the booth, and when he went in the booth, he changed my mind completely.
Yeah.
Like I was blown away. I said, "Yo, this kid is crazy." And then a week later, 2 weeks later, he signed to Dre, and he blew up before my album came out. He already had blown up.
I like hearing Fat Joe talk about how he still kicks himself because he could have been the first one to sign him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying Joe wasn't signing them. I'm not sure. I wasn't around for that, but maybe.
Yeah. Just before we, because I'm so curious about all these other guys that you work with. But when we were growing up, I don't know how old you are. I'm 46, but you know,
I'm 52.
Okay, so I started listening to hip hop in like 1985. I started writing rhymes in like 1987. So I've been just like a hobbyist and like, you know, just a guy who loves the fucking music for a long time. But when we were young, it was almost like rappers were like athletes. And once they reached like their mid to late 30s, it then, you know, they kind of like, they would do the best of tour, then they would retire or whatever. That
right.
A lot of rappers now that like, and I guess I'll use M as an example, but also like Dre and like Method Man, like there's a whole bunch of cats that put out new shit and their skills haven't diminished. And in some cases, I mean, listen, I like Eminem's old shit. He does stuff now like that track Lucky You with Joyner Lucas that I'm just like, I don't think he could have even done that when he was younger. You know, like is there different now? Are people putting in more work for longer now so that their muscle that helps carry their creative into the rhyme book? Like, is that something that is new in modern age that wasn't really happening back then?
I mean, maybe because now artists put a lot of pressure on themselves to keep up with, you know, with the trends and all of that. So I'm not sure though, but maybe.
Okay. Rakim in the booth. What's he like?
He writes his rhymes in graffiti.
What?
He writes his rhymes in graffiti. That's the truth. He really does.
Like he's got his own brick wall?
No, his book.
Really? So no one can bite.
Huh?
So no one can bite his rhymes because it's in his own font.
He writes rhymes in graffiti every show you see me. Yo, he does. He writes in graffiti.
Wow, that's crazy.
In the booth, he's one take most of the time.
He was my favorite growing up. Like I felt like it was like Kubo D. What was modern for some reason. I look at Kubo D. He's the interesting cat to me because it's like he is sort of like he's like old school and not quite new school, but almost. And then Rakim's like, I'll take care of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though? Like,
I feel you.
And Big Daddy Kane was like that for me too. I miss rappers like that. I do. You know?
Man.
I want a new breed of rappers to all be born and they're all just old school fiends.
I'm sure there's artists out there that are bred like that. I mean, okay, for instance, you got Tom L, Rakim's son. That's really Rakim's son. Tom L is doing his thing.
You've worked with a bunch of legendary sons too. The Big Pun's kid, right? Fat Joe's kid. Yeah.
No, Chris Rivers is Big Pun's son. I've never worked with Fat Joe's kids.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was Big Pun.
I saw that. Yeah, Big Pun. Yeah. Tom L, Rakim's son. I mean, that's it though as far as legendary sons.
That must be interesting though, like just to like the two generations, just to see what their differences and also their similarities, right?
Yeah. Tom L is funny. I was having a conversation with Tom L, and I said, "Yo, there's certain points when you're rapping, I can hear my melody Rakim voice come out of you, and that's your dad. You know, so if you go listen to Tamel and just zone in on his voice, you hear a young Rakim. You
That
definitely
cadence,
hear
eh?
it.
That
The
cadence in the back.
cadence, the voice, everything. You know.
Ice Cube's kid is sort of like that too. That was so like it was so interesting watching South. Was it called South Central? I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but the movie about their lives there.
Yeah, okay. Compton,
Yeah.
out of Compton.
Straight out of Compton, yeah.
Straight
Like
out of
that,
Compton.
just like the way that he makes his eyebrows go evil. I was like, oh my god, he's his dad.
I'll make you laugh. Me and my kids went to see Cocaine Bear, and he's in there.
Oh, is he really?
Ice Cube's son, yeah. My youngest son was like, "Yo, isn't that Ice Cube's son?" I was like, "Yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad you knew that."
Yeah. I feel like I have so many friends that could have been the stand-in for the actual bear because we did a lot of blow back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, that's actually a true story, bro.
You know what's funny? I'm just gonna tell my audience. I wanted you to know that I was coming at this from like a lover of hip hop. So I sent you a track that I did, and I just wanted to reiterate that I'm not sending you my music because I want to get signed. I just wanted to send you, but just to send it to you so you know that I was coming at this from like a guy who loves man. I love the culture. I love it so much.
Listen, man. You could ask people on Instagram. People send me their stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't listen to everything, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm doing something or I'm not busy, I'll be on Instagram, listen to stuff, hit back, and I mean, look, I came from where they came from, where they're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? So I know the struggle. I know the steps. So I don't ever forget that I came from exactly where they are. It's just it's a lot easier to get into the game right now.
Well, you guys you were so accessible. Yeah, it wasn't like that back in the day.
No, not at all, not at all. And I think that's what makes people say what they say. I'm humble. I'm a nice person because. A lot of people tell me, yo, I sent XYZ a message and they read it but ignored me, and that ain't got nothing to do with me. But I try to be accessible as possible because, look, how we make this hip hop thing survive is we teach the next one what to do and what's the right thing to do.
That's right.
And some will listen, some won't, and it's cool.
Yeah, you know what? It means so much to those kids because I remember being in my early 20s, and actually the KRS once came to Hamilton, just a city outside of Toronto, and played at a place called Pepper Jack's, and I was in the front row, and I had 7 beers in my hands, and I was not leaving the front row for the whole fucking show, right? and then during the encore, my plan was, I was going to go outside. I was going to look for the SUV with American plates, and I found it, right? And wait for him because I wanted to just. Was it the
Navigator?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
This was 2005.
Okay.
So it was white, and it was white. It
was
a
white Navigator. White Navigator, yeah.
That's right. And
you like how I guessed that one, right?
Well, listen, I figure not only do you know all the rappers, but you probably know all their whips too, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. But the reason why I did it is because I wanted to fulfill a fucking dream of mine of ciphering with KRS-One. I didn't know if he was going to say yes, but then he said yes. And I got that, and I spit 16, and then he freestyled. It's funny because KRS freestyles when you can tell that he's just he was tired, he just did a show. He's always talking about the microphone and then criminal minded, right? He's always got to say those two things. Right? But I took it, man. I took it as a W. You know what I mean? That was,
man.
I got to spit with KRS-One. Fuck it.
Have you ever seen the video online of KRS-One battles a fan in Pittsburgh?
No.
You got to look at that. Yeah. That was that was a concert I did because I have That's Hip Hop Music, and that's a concert company, and I did a concert with him and Rakim in Pittsburgh. This was 2015, I believe, and a fan wanted to battle Chris, and the fan was dressed like MC Shan in the
Oh,
Kangol and everything.
that's
So
hilarious.
you can find the video on
Yeah, yeah.
on the internet. All you gotta do is put KRS-One Battles Fan. I guarantee you'll find it. So after the concert, Chris comes to me in the dressing room and he goes, "Yo, you set me up." And I was like, "I didn't set you up." He's like, "Bro, why was the kid dressed like MC Shan?" And he said, "I said, Chris, that same kid. I did a concert before that with Kane, Kane, Coogee Rap, Brand Nubian, and Das Effect.
Wow.
That same kid was dressed the exact same way and
He
put
just
his
really loves MC
Kang.
Shan.
Yeah, and when Kane jumped into the crowd, he put his Kangol on Kane's head.
Oh wow.
So Chris swore up and down that I set him up, and I'm like, nah. But you wanted to battle him, so you battled him,
Who
and I
won?
didn't think that was gonna happen. Of course, Chris did.
Okay, good, good. Well then,
Yeah, yeah.
he should have been like, "Thank you for setting me up with the kid that I just
Well,
beat."
yeah, but the kid was reciting um "Beat You Down" by Black Poet.
As part of the
So
battle.
it was, yeah, the kid acted like it was
Ah.
his song. The
Can
video,
I
you
ask
gotta see the
you that?
video.
I gotta.
Yeah.
I'll check out the video. I want to ask you that though, because I ask every single hip hop guy that I have on this show because it bothers me like you wouldn't even believe that the definition of the word freestyle miraculously just changed one day, going from off the dome, which is what I think it is, to like, oh, it's just a verse no one's heard before. Where did that come from, and what do you feel the answer is to what a definition of a freestyle is?
Freestyle, as far as I knew, was always off the dome.
Thank you very much.
Always. Um, if I mean, listen, I've been in radio interviews where, I'm not trying to put nobody on blast, but I'll be with an artist. I'm not even gonna. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be fair. I'm not even gonna mention the artist's name,
Okay.
but came to spit something and they pulled their phone out.
Oh,
So
Drake. Oh wait, someone else. All right.
no, it
Sorry.
wasn't Drake. No, but that's not a freestyle. That's a written freestyle. So what do we classify it as? I don't know. A verse. It's a
My
verse.
my backpack is on so fucking tight that I don't even respect people that pull out their phones because I feel like the verse ain't ready if you haven't memorized it yet. You know?
Yo, that's funny. I heard somebody say that to an artist recently. Like,
Yeah,
yo, if you ain't memorize it, it's not a freestyle. It's not a verse. It's just something you practicing with.
that's right.
Yeah.
Listen, we have to kind of cut it short. We started late, and I have a show that's coming on this back end.
No
But
problem, bro.
I could talk to you for hours. Don't worry, I won't be offended if you send me back an email that where I sent you the track where you're like, I just really like the beat. The beat's good, James.
Nah, it's all good,
Not
bro.
bad.
All good. All good.
All right.
I'll definitely reply to it.
Okay, it's okay, man. I just want to let you know where I was coming from because listen, I love this shit. I love having you on because listen, you're a super producer. You're one of the greatest in my book, and I really appreciate the
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you very much, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you, brother. Thank
All
you.
right, Domingo. You have a good night, buddy.
All right, man. You too, bro.
Cheers. That was a treat for me. Listen, I know a lot of you cats may not have heard of Domingo, but like look him up and just check out the talent that he's worked with. It's amazing. I'm gonna go pretty quick now because there's a show that is waiting for me to finish so that it can come on. I am not doing a double header tonight because Tom Marazzo, it was past his bedtime, so he didn't want to do it anymore. But we'll have him on tomorrow. Classified at 7 o'clock will be on the show. He's been on before. He wrapped up his retrospective tour. I can't wait to talk to him about that because he didn't book any big cities when he booked the tour.
blackball.